Tim, that you are trying to private label a generic product by attaching your own brand to it. And so, you can often use the photos from Alibaba, and you'll find that a lot of people on Amazon do that. But then the problem is that you don't stand out and it looks like you're selling the exact same product as your competitors, which you very well might be doing. But it's always good, in my opinion, to invest in a professional product photographer to get some photos that are different from your competitors. And you can usually find them on sites like Fiverr or Upwork. I think that I paid a little under $300 to a professional photographer a couple of years ago to get a photo shoot of my products, and she even did some Photoshop as well to put them in a photo with like some models that weren't actually there when she shot them. And I think that I was able to keep about 6 of the photos. I could choose the 6 that I wanted. So it is a little bit pricey at first, but it is an investment that I think is worth making to make your listing stand out from your competitors. Fran said, are Jungle Scout sales numbers and revenue figures ever wrong? Well, obviously, as I work for Jungle Scout, I'm, biased, and I'm confident that the data is usually accurate. But as with anything, sometimes things might occur that cause things to go wonky. So if it looks like something is not correct, please do reach out to our support team and let us know so that we can investigate it. This is kind of complicated software because it's always working in tandem with Amazon, which is a dynamic beast. And so sometimes certain things just break and the numbers won't look correct. But by and large, we do have accurate data. I found that when I use Jungle Scout's products myself to do research or to change my keywords, I usually do see positive results. So again, take that for what it's worth, since obviously Jungle Scout is my employer, but I am a seller myself, and I had started using Jungle Scout before I even worked for them, and it's always been good for me. TW said, the products I've been following are seeing a deep decline in April sales, like this cargo liner you're showing. Would you know why? Is this something you've been seeing in other products as well? No, I haven't noticed, I haven't personally observed any sort of steep decline in sales, but if you're seeing this across the board, my suspicion is that it's because of the supply chain issues. I know like a lot of products come from China, which is still in chaos because their government is just like locking people in their apartments for weeks on end. And so there are products that are not being made, they're not being shipped out. It could also be because now that we're out of Q1, the people who ordered their inventory for Christmas, they might have ordered a whole bunch to get them through the Christmas season and then through Q1 of this year. And maybe they're having issues getting themselves restocked, so their sales are going down. Usually this time of year is, like a little more quiet than the Q4 portion of the year. But I suspect that as we get through the summer and we're approaching the autumn, you'll probably start seeing those sales start to tick up again. So that's my hypothesis for why you might be seeing a decline, but I honestly don't know. Heather said, I just missed how to share while hiding the product. Oh, I was showing in the extension. So when you're on the search results page on Amazon, and if you click on the extension icon in your toolbar itself and it opens that pop-up, you'll see a little hamburger button that says menu in the top left corner of the extension. If you click on that, you'll see a menu item that says take a screenshot or share a screenshot, and then it'll do that for you. So you don't need to worry about manually blurring out the sensitive information. Alex said, what would be a good opportunity score to consider a product a candidate? Well, obviously the higher the better. So I look for stuff that's at least a 5 or higher. But I will say that the American marketplace, which is Amazon.com, is the most crowded marketplace of any of Amazon's websites. So if you're searching the United States marketplace, it's usually a little bit harder to find higher opportunity scores because of how crowded it is. If you're searching something like France or the UK or Canada, it might be easier to find higher opportunity scores because there's just fewer sellers, but there are also fewer customers in those marketplaces, so it kind of balances out. I do find, though, that if I begin eliminating products from it, the opportunity score usually does go up. And I also don't think that people should live and die by that number because it's just a suggestion for how difficult it might be. But you can always outsell your competition by finding a way to improve the product or writing a better listing. So even if it says that there's medium demand and medium competition, or there's like high demand, but there's high competition as well, Well, if there is high demand, that's a great sign. And so I might still be interested in that product. So it's really up to you. And I think that people put too much stock into that number. And as I said a moment ago, the more you practice this art of evaluating products, the easier it will become for you to really tell whether a product has a chance or not. Daniel says, is there any way to see if a product has a patent? We explored the cocktail smoker and there was a patent on it, but we needed to hire a patent expert to learn that. There is a way, but it's, the safest way would be to hire a patent attorney to do that research for you. You can do your own preliminary research by going to, well, if you're searching in the US, you'd go to the USPTO, so the US Patent and Trademark Office, and you can search their website and see whether any patents exist for the products you're looking at. Highly recommend that you do that so that you don't run into any trouble, but just know that if you're not an expert, even that preliminary search could still leave you open to some risk. So if you're really concerned, then I would definitely hire an IP or a patent attorney to do that for you. But there are a lot of generic products out there that don't have patents where you can kind of modify them, or even if you don't make any major changes, you could still attach your own trademarked logo to it so that you can sell it under your own brand. Mozingo said, any tips on how to estimate a product shipping cost while doing product search to help us decide if our potential list price will be competitive with other sellers' prices, including while in Walmart scanning products for retail arbitrage? It's tricky these days because of how high the shipping costs have become. But in terms of general ideas, if you go to Alibaba and you just look for that product in general, if you begin poking through the listings on Alibaba, the manufacturers will at least give you an idea of, like, you can put in how many units you would hypothetically order from them, and then it will do a rough calculation for how much it would cost. But the other problem is that usually that number is not always accurate because it's assuming that you're shipping it via a certain mode, and you would probably want to specify that you're shipping it via ocean freight. So in that case, you will probably need to reach out to the suppliers to get an estimate from them about how much it would cost. If you can present yourself professionally and you look like an opportunity for them, often they will have a PDF that has their catalog in it, and then it'll have a table within it so that you can see the particular item that you're considering buying. And then they'll give you like the price if it's EXW or free on board, or DDP, which is like all duties paid. And then that way, per unit how much it would cost to ship it from the manufacturer to, I don't know, like the United States in general. And then of course you would need to add a little bit onto that because you need to get it from the destination to an Amazon warehouse. So that's how I would research the shipping costs. But at least I would say that as a general rule of thumb, when I started doing this, my shipping costs for the ocean freight portion using DDP Incoterms, which is the most expensive one because it puts all of the onus on the manufacturer rather than me. I was paying 50% of my actual product's cost to ship it. So if I was paying $4,000 just to buy the items themselves, then the shipping cost to get it to my house here in America from Shanghai, China was $2,000 roughly. Now, the problem is that the shipping cost is about the same as the actual cost of goods themselves. So it'd be $4,000 to buy the goods and $4,000 to ship it. And I don't know when that's going to go down, but I hope soon. So that will tell you at least kind of like what to look for. I'd say if you can get anything that is about 50 to 75% of your actual cost of goods, that would be reasonable. And that's for ocean shipping. If it's air freight, it's going to be even more. Kareem says, is it smart to take out a business loan to cover the cost of everything? Well, it's all in how you do it. It's not smart if you don't have a way to pay it back or if you haven't really done your research. But I do think that it's becoming a necessity, especially since the powers that be running the world seem to want to pursue this never-ending Keynesian policy where like money is free to borrow. So you might want to take advantage of that while you can, and the interest rates are relatively low. But I would be conservative if I hadn't launched a product and I didn't feel extremely confident about what I was doing. I would maybe only take out a loan to cover a portion of it, and then I would still cover the rest of it with money that I had saved up. If you do have some experience doing this, then maybe be a little bit more aggressive. But I know that this is becoming the reality for people who want to launch a product, especially since you do need to order more inventory up front these days because of how long it takes to ship things. So people are often buying 6 months worth or even an entire year at one time, whereas in the past, we would usually order our inventory for about 3 or 4 months at a time. So I would say it could be a smart decision, but you just need to make sure that you're being responsible about how you borrow that money. Rest assured, Kareem, though, like those revenue numbers in the extension or the product database could at least give you a projection of how much revenue you might expect to make from selling the item on Amazon. So that's why you're using these tools instead of going into this blind. Christina says,